back to the Disc Golf Collective.
Yeah, we're here. And we have a whole bunch of stuff to talk about today. I think we're going to start by introducing ourselves since we didn't in the last episode.
Yeah, might want to do that.
That's probably a great idea, right?
All right.
All right. Well, I'll start. I'm James Harward. Um, I'm a massage therapist by trade. I also do remodeling and a bunch of other stuff, just little odds and ends. But um, I've been playing disc golf for about 10 years, maybe just a little longer than that. My PDGA number is 678. I'm sorry, 67988. My rating is 882, down from 913 this year. Can't say I had a great playing year in the tournaments. Things got me a little distracted, and unfortunately, since COVID hit, I didn't get to just go play disc golf like a lot of people. I had to go and find a second job to keep things going since I didn't quite get any unemployment for being a massage therapist. But still got some rounds in. But my rating definitely dropped this year, and maybe we'll work on getting that back up next year. So who are you?
Well, for starters, my name is Justin Offenberger. As far as my job, I guess I should start off PDGA number as well. Mine is 109, 104. You can check it out for a good laugh. Rating is 797, but I've only been doing tournaments for about 2 years now. I started my first tournament in 2018, but I was at one point in time a 832 rated player, but just battling myself in most tournaments. But like I said, for a good laugh, check it out. And this year, haven't really, like he said, with the COVID and everything, haven't really got out to play much and work on getting my rating back up. But it is what it is. But for work, I work for a durable medical equipment called Lincare. It's a nationwide company. I'm a senior service rep, so I deliver oxygen, set people up with oxygen, stuff like that. And COVID hit and we were still working, just probably not as busy as we normally are. But as far as side jobs go, I do detail cars on the side. I've been doing that for a few years, and that's pretty much it on the job side. But as far as disc golf goes, I've only been playing for about 4 or 5 years roughly. And it's just, I'm just starting. I was kind of getting late introduced to the game, but now that I am, I'm definitely loving the game and love playing it and meeting new people, and that's what it's all about.
Amen. I agree. That's been my favorite part of it, is the thousands of people I've met at tournaments over the years, and maybe my second part, the favorite part, is the hundreds of discs I've collected over those years. And big fan of keeping all the tournament discs that have cool stamps on them and stuff like that, just to remember the tournament. I used to, when I was early in disc golf, I threw most of those because I didn't have enough discs, or probably because I lost most of my discs. I think. All right.
Yeah, like you said, when you first start out, you tend to lose a lot of discs. Like, some of them, it just seems like that plastic's got a worm or a fish in it, because whenever you get close to water, that's where it goes. Just see it by.
Yeah. I agree.
My favorite discs have all been lost at tournaments and water.
Yep. Yeah, I know one of the courses we plan on talking about later, Ripley, or Cedar Lakes in Ripley. One tournament lost 3 discs in the same lake.
I think that same tournament is the one where I lost my favorite driver in the pond. I mean, that thing just come around the hills looking good, and the wind said, no, it's going this way.
Yep.
It's going for a swim.
Right. Yeah, that one hole, it's kind of weird with the way the hill kind of blocks the wind until you get about 200 feet off the tee, and then as the disc starts slowing down, it starts going right on you.
Yep.
Because that wind comes around the hill. Never expected.
Right. That's the other fun part about the game, is not only meeting new people, but new courses.
Yeah.
Seeing new places.
New challenges. Yeah.
New challenges, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, well, Justin, on this episode, we're going to talk about your road to playing 50 courses.
The road to 50.
Yeah. So where are you sitting at now?
Right now I'm sitting at around 21 courses. I think I've played at least locally and within a few hours drive. But start out locally, the Big Buckeye and the Sasquatch at the Broughton's Nature Park that we talked about in the last episode. Also the Gold Star Park, little pitch and putt in town, and then go across over to West Virginia. I've played the Veterans Park in Williamstown, OVU, which is considered, I think that's Vienna area.
I believe so. Yeah.
So Ohio Valley University, also Jackson Park. Then within, anywhere from...
Well, let's take a break there. Let's talk about some of those parks and some of the challenges that you faced as a newer disc golfer. So, like, what are your opinions of Big Buckeye?
Big Buckeye, it was definitely a challenge to begin with, because the first time I played that course was before you got there and started working on it and changed the layouts and everything. But it was definitely, a challenge because there was distance, which I didn't have, and then there is some wood shots and things like that. But I think that was one of the first courses I started, I played starting out, and then work my way around there. But yeah, the upper holes, you couldn't even, it was literally just a walkthrough for me because it was so grown over that you could see the you would walk through everything and find the baskets, but you couldn't play the hole. There was nothing, it wasn't cleared out. It hadn't been touched in years. So that was a little disappointing, but I definitely like playing it now because it still has the distance challenge, but there's also a lot of technicality to it, like the wooded shots and stuff. You got to make sure that you're hitting your line and things like that. But I definitely like the course where it's at now. You've put a lot of work into it, and it's definitely for the best.
Well, thank you. Appreciate that. I kind of love working out there. It's gives me something to do in my spare time, and I don't know. There's something about developing courses that it really just draws me. It's like taking a raw piece of property and making it into something amazing for everybody to use.
Right.
It's pretty fun.
You got that vision to start out with, and then to see your vision come to life. It's kind of a experience that you can't really explain in words.
Yeah,
it's really not.
I agree. Well, let's move on to the Sassy.
Oh, the Sasquatch. Yeah, that one I played for the first time. Shout out Jim Morgan for building that course. It's an amazing course. It's definitely tough, but I remember playing that the first time. I was wore out because it's not just the game. It's a hike. I mean, it is a hike to play that course. And I think when we played it just rained like a couple days before, so there wasn't really any paths cut out. There wasn't any gravel down on tee pads, and getting around was just a little sketch. But still enjoyed the round and the challenge and everything else. But yeah, it's definitely a good course. It's a tough course for sure.
Yeah, I agree.
Because you got to have your A game if you're going to go up there and play. Because if you remotely get off or get a small treat kick, you're going to no man's land.
That is so true. And there's some serious hiking on that course if you throw badly.
Oh yeah.
Luckily, Jim has done a lot of work probably since the last time you played. He's put in turf tee pads.
Yep, and there's gravel
underneath of them. And, I mean, he's done a really good job. And I'm a little spoiled playing up there with those turf tee pads because then you get back on the concrete and all of a sudden the concrete seems like it's slick.
Yeah, right.
It's definitely an interesting change.
For sure.
But he's done a lot of work to the walking paths and stuff up there too. He's put dug some steps in. I got a shout out to Eli Web, and I'm trying to think of his last name. Isaac. Well, I'm sorry, Isaac. I can't think of your last name right now. If I think of it later, I'll bring it up.
Say I'm drawing a blank on it too.
Yeah, but good guys. They've definitely helped Jim and I do a lot of work on the big Buckeye and the Sasquatch, and I know Isaac goes up there almost every day, just like, or at least 3 or 4 times a week, just like Jim does, and he'll pick up sticks and work on a little bit here and there.
Right.
And they pretty much keep the tools on that property, on that course, and every so often they'll just pick the tool up and carry it to the next hole and do a little work there. And every time I go up there, I can just see there, just a little bit more done, and yeah, it's really cool to watch it develop. It is a tough course, but I think over time it'll be a little easier to traverse all those areas that are bad.
Right.
Once there's some stairs in and stuff. And
one thing is, for me personally, if I'm on a course and I'm playing, I know what it's like to work on the course and try to upkeep on it. So I don't follow the normal path that most people walk. I try to walk around the side of the path and stomp some stuff down. Could just keep it. As long as you keep walking through there and don't take the same path every time, you can kind of help keep the course clear of anything trying to grow up. Or
I agree. I try to drag my feet as much as possible.
Right,
Kill
right.
as many weeds.
We're always told not to drag our feet, but we do it on purpose on a course.
Yeah, and it's way easier to beat them down with your feet than weed eat them.
Right, right.
That's for sure. Yeah. Well, let's move on to Gold Star. What are your opinions of that?
Gold Star, it's a good course. Like I said, it's a pitch and putt. If you're first starting out and you want to try, here locally, a short course and work on, different aspects of the game. Because like me, I go there with putters and mid ranges. That's it. I try to force myself to get the distance out of my mid range that I don't think I can, but I know I can because I've done it.
Yeah.
But it's definitely a good course. But the hole 1 and 2 needs, revamped a little bit because the way it's designed, it doesn't work out too well. They just kind of need flip-flopped.
Yeah.
And it would definitely be smoother on the first couple holes.
Yeah, I think the flow would definitely be better.
Yeah, flow would definitely be better. But otherwise, I like it. I mean, it's a brand new
What's your
course.
favorite hole on that one?
My favorite hole on that one, that's a tough one. Because I have a couple. One is definitely standing up beside the water tower where you can see over all of Marietta.
Yeah.
Throwing down the hill.
Towards the fire station.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then
that's a fun one.
The next favorite hole would definitely be the one that runs right beside the tennis courts. Because
number 6.
It's a good ace race.
Yeah.
It's a good ace hole. You could try.
Yeah. And you can also go out of bounds.
Yeah, definitely go out of bounds. But that's a good one. And then
I think my favorite hole is 9. I don't know why.
That was my third one.
Is
is 9 because you can't
tunnel shot.
Yeah, nice little tunnel shot. You got to hit your line. You got to hit that gap.
Yeah.
And as long as you do that, you're going to be within. Putting for 2. But if you're not, you
get a lot of trouble early.
You're trying to pitch out.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. I played a tournament there right when that one opened, and I guess I helped run a tournament there when that first opened, and somehow I came out with a 1-stroke win on that tournament, got a trophy from it. Maybe I'll try to remember to take a picture of it and include it on here.
Right.
But that was a fun tournament. And Adam Sams was 1 stroke behind me. I ended up taking a 2 on hole 9, which is how I won, and I felt good. For sure. All right. Well, I guess we're moving out of Marietta. We're going to move on to Williamstown at this point, and Veterans Park.
The Veterans Park.
What do you think of Veterans Park?
Tell you what, that course and me didn't get along the first time I played it because I had never. The Vets, it was my second course that I played other than the Big Buckeye, and it was more of a challenge because I'm like, oh, woods, what,
Yeah, I do.
I love the course though. I mean, I enjoy playing it, and the more I played it, the more I enjoy it. But yeah, at first it was definitely a very intimidating course because, hole 1 you're looking down the fairway and there's so many trees, and they're not just on the sides; they're in the middle, and.
Yeah.
I'm one of those people, I can throw a good shot and it looks good. Next thing you know, it's kissing a tree out there somewhere.
Yep. Yeah, I'll have to share a video one of these days of me hitting about a 45-foot putt for to keep a playoff going. We were playing doubles, and I hit a 45-footer on hole one to keep the playoff going after my partner missed. Which, you want to talk about pressure? Never had that much pressure in my life, and it was for like I think we split $300 when we won, and only time I ever played for cash, and it was just a for fun tournament. But yeah, that was a memory that I'll never forget. Well, especially since it's on video. But I'll definitely have to share that one.
Yeah, I have one memory from the veterans course there that it's kind of stayed with me since then. But I nailed about a 90-foot putt. I had thrown, and I don't know why I did it, but it was what is it, hole 7? You throw down the hill across the road.
Yep.
And I ended up on the right side of the road, and instead of going inbounds and dropping and doing it, I was like, I just wanted to challenge myself. So I stood in that ditch and drilled the putt from the ditch.
Oh wow!
It was a throw-in from 90 feet. Like, I couldn't get over it. That was a pretty memorial moment. But yeah, the biggest intimidation that I had at Vets was the hole over the water, where you got to throw over the pond. The first time ever going there, looking at that, I was like, yeah.
Right. Yeah, I can remember a few holes in Washington that had water on them. There was a course in, I think it was Southern Washington. I'm trying to remember the name of that town. There's a lot of courses around there. It's near Portland, but there's a course down there that has like nothing but water. I mean, there's so much water. Like every hole, well, I would say like in 3 holes, 2 of them had water.
Right.
And Haley and I played, I think, the first 4 or 5 holes, lost 2 discs, and quit. And we were far from home, so we didn't want to lose all our stuff playing that course. And kind of wish I had taken some old discs to play that one, but it was a rough one. But yeah, so let's move on to OVU and Vienna. I guess let's start with, what's your favorite hole at OVU?
Favorite hole at OVU? We talking old layout or new layout?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Because I've played both.
Yeah. Let's go with new layout.
New layout, favorite hole.
Mine doesn't change. Well, the number changed, but the hole stays the same. It used to be hole 9. It's now hole 17. The one straight, like kind of straight downhill.
Oh yeah, towards the main entrance.
Same tee box as hole 1.
Yeah, I do like that one. I definitely like number 3.
Yeah.
The tight gap between the woods, because that's the first one where you're not out in a dead open field.
Yeah.
That one's
long.
Yeah.
And you got to throw dead straight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's definitely one of my favorites, because it's always a challenge. You
one.
can never. I'm like lightning. I never hit the same place twice. I might hit the same tree twice, but I never hit the same gap twice.
Yeah.
But yeah, I definitely like that one, and yeah, I definitely like the one that you're talking about, which used to be the old hole 9. Now it's hole 17.
Yeah.
Because it's just a fun shot. I mean, it's either a good putter shot or mid range if you don't got the distance with a putter yet. But it's just a fun shot because you're throwing downhill. You can throw the forehand line. You can try to go dead straight, or you can do the hyzer route. I mean, it's got all 3, but it's still got technicality to it because there's that tree right dead in the middle, right before the basket that you got to try to miss.
Yep. Yep.
But it's still a fun shot.
It is. I know one of the first times I threw a mid-range, and I threw it kind of downhill at it, and it just held that line. It was a buzz. It held the line and ended up all the way across the road, at least 200 feet past the basket. I remember thinking, like, yeah, I can't throw a buzz that far, but apparently today I can.
And that course, I definitely have some memories on that course because there was 1 year, it was the first round that my buddy and I decided to go play around. I can't remember what time of the year it was. I think it was January or February, but it was 16 degrees that day, and we decided to throw on hoodies and pants and go out and toss around out there at OVU. And we did, and I mean, it was cold, but man, once you got moving around stuff, you didn't even realize it was that cold. But there was some good memories because my buddy, he threw a disc and it hit a little sapling, and we got up to it, and it was so cold, and the disc just hit the tree, and it looked like someone had took a hatchet and just went downwards on the tree. I mean, it cut it. It was the most unbelievable thing I'd ever seen. But I think that that same day was my first ever throw in.
Nice.
I was down in the woods on the right hand side. I'm trying to remember what hole number it was because you had, what was it? Was it 10 that went down the hill towards the baseball fields?
Yeah, the big giant.
And then 11 went around behind, and then 12 went back in. Then it was 13. I think it was 14 because 14 you come back across the road.
Yeah, and back
the
up towards the field. Yeah.
The basket was over there, and then once you're done with that, then you're teeing off and coming back up out of the woods. But I think it was hole 14. But I was on the right hand side of that road, and all them little trees and all that stuff. And my buddy, he was standing up, probably he was to the left of the basket on the other side of the road that goes down through there, and he was only probably maybe 50 75 feet from the basket, and he was watching me throw my upshot, and I was like probably 120 125 feet out, and I just stood sideways to the basket with my putter through it, and that thing never hit nothing except chains and just went in the basket. And I remember him saying, going, I wish I had a pair of them glasses that had a camera in it, because he's like, I just watched that happen. He's like, we're the only two people out here, but he's like, man, that was just sick.
That's cool.
But that's one of my memories of that course. But yeah, I definitely like the new layout better than the old, because no one kept up with it. And the old layout, half the time you're worried your disc wasn't going to go in the basket because all the grass was growing up through the bottom of the cage. But
right,
it's definitely turned around. It's a lot better now.
Yeah, that's a good course. That one's, I'm trying to remember Jungle's real name. Shout out to Jungle anyway. He knows who he is. And I know his real name's Jim, but I don't remember his last name. Him and Dave Wiltsey went out and started that work out there. And I believe Dave ended up moving away, and Jungle ended up finishing it. But it was I like the change, and it had to happen because they were pushing us off of the other part of the property anyway, and turned out great. Well, let's move on to actually, how about we take a break for a minute?
Okay.
Yeah.